and welcome to Talkin Fight with me, Holly Donovan. This is your preview show, and I will be previewing two different fights on Saturday, the 25th of March, one which is happening in Manchester and one which is happening in Telford. So the one in Telford is on BT Sport. That is a Queensberry boxing night, and I will be previewing a fight that is on that undercard with Raven Chapman versus Linda Laura Lecker. I love Raven Chapman, which is why I've decided to focus on her. Also, I think she's one of the best female prospects at the moment. She's really, really incredible. Now, the other fight that I will be previewing is a boxer night, which will be happening on Sky. And I'm going to be previewing the headlining fight, which will be Lawrence Okolie versus David Light, Cruiserweight World Championship. So without further ado, let's begin with arguably, I think, the bigger fight, which is Lawrence Okolie versus David Light. So I'm going to start with Lawrence. He's our London boy. He is from Hackney. Now, he is the current WBO Cruiserweight champion. He won that in 2021. He has 18-0. He has a big fat O. 14 of his wins have come by way of knockout. Really brilliant fighter, 30 years old, famous for a long reach, accuracy, and some really great power. I highly rate Lawrence Okolie, actually, really entertaining fighter too. Now, he is a Team GB graduate. He fought as a heavyweight on that team. He was at the 2016 Olympics. He narrowly missed out on a medal. He lost to the guy that eventually got the bronze medal, I think. But in 2017, he became pro, and arguably that's when his career really started. He came to boxing pretty late, which I'll go into, which is probably why, and that will make sense. Now, Lawrence's last fight was against Michael Cieslak, however you want to say it. He was 23-2, so 23 wins, 2 losses, 17 KOs, so a very good opponent for Lawrence, arguably one of the top. Also, a previous world champ. He won that fight via unanimous decision. I would say Lawrence did dominate. However, it was a really good fight. So if you want to see some of his power and technicality, watch that fight. Previous to that, it was a fight against Dylan Pasovich. Really easy fight, KO in round 3. So if you want to see some of Lawrence's superpower, go on YouTube and check out that one. Now, as I said, the Michael Cieslak fight was in February 2022. So yes, he has had 13 months out of the ring. Now, you have probably seen and read and heard, because obviously you follow boxing, he had a lot of trouble with his ex-promoter, Eddie Hearn, at Matchroom. And he was frustrated because of inactivity. Obviously, they had different stories going on, but essentially he wanted more fights and didn't think he had enough fights, and he wanted to get out of his contract. He managed it. He is now with Ben Shalom over at Boxer. I would argue that's a really good call because Ben Shalom has got a decent amount of cruiserweights in his stable. There's some really good domestic fights to be had there as well. So I think we'll see a lot more fights from Lawrence Okolie, and it was a good move. Also, Lawrence Okolie has got a new trainer. So he was previously with Shane McGuigan and was doing really well. Obviously, he's undefeated. But he is now with Sugar Hill. And we all know Sugar Hill. He's Tyson's trainer. Famous for really, honing in on that epic power punch. Lawrence kind of already has that, I'd say. So this might be a really good fit. When asked in interviews this week, Lawrence is saying that they're working on consistency together and lots of new things he's learning. He's really enjoying it. He's only been with him for 2 months, so I don't think we'll see a completely different Lawrence Okolie, but it'll be interesting to see some of the new skills that he's picked up. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Now, he is really comfortable about this fight against David Light. David Light is his mandatory challenger. He's super chilled. He's like, yeah, no problem. No one's really, caused me any trouble. So we'll see. Lawrence came to boxing pretty late. He has quite a cool story, so I'll tell you a little bit of it. He was actually quite an overweight teen, a lot of socializing in chicken shops, working in McDonald's. He was fearful of gangs. In fact, he told a story of when he was 14 years old and 20 gang members turned up to come and beat him up. And a guy with a dog intervened and pretty much, I'd say probably saved his life. Now, he was working in McDonald's in London 2012 when all of a sudden on the screen, there are the London Olympics and AJ is there. Anthony Joshua comes on, and obviously we all know what he did at the Olympics, and it seriously inspires Lawrence Okolie. He sees a lot of similarities between him and AJ, size for one, also of Nigerian descent, and also the fact that they both got into a bit of trouble. And he saw this as a moment. It was an inspiration, and it completely changed his life. Lawrence quit his job the very next next day. He went to the gym and he lost 5 stone. Now, he had done a little bit of boxing at college, but this is when he decided to do it properly. He said he was thinking about going to uni and becoming a social worker, but when he saw AJ, it was like everything just became clear. It was what he wanted to do. That's when he decided to obviously go into the amateurs and then into the pros, and obviously why everything's a little bit late. Yeah. He's also published a book called Black Voices. He really cares about, I think, inspiring people, just like AJ inspired him. He wants to inspire others. So he is trying to get kids to look up to good, inspirational people rather than flashy gang members who make life look awesome, even though it's not. Now, I would say that Lawrence's toughest opponents will probably come. He had a fight with Krzysztof Glowacki. He got TKO in round 6. However, he's a previous world champion, so it was a kind of a tough fight for him. He's also fought Isaac Chamberlain. That was back in 2018. Again, a unanimous decision. So he has been in the ring with some tough opponents. Also, what's quite cool about this is that he's now managed by AJ. So he's kind of come full circle, which is pretty cool. Now, his mandatory challenger for this Cruiserweight World title is David Light. He is a Kiwi. He is from New Zealand. He is 31 years old and he's 20-0. So he's earned this place. 12 of his wins have come by way of knockouts. So one of these guys will lose his O. Now, David Light is the current WBO Global, International and Oriental Champion. He won those titles back in December 22. That was in Florida, and that was against Brandon Glanton. It's a split decision, but I watched that back and I don't think it is. I think David Light won that quite comfortably, but see what you think. Now, this is his UK debut, but he said he's super used to being the underdog, and he is very happy with, going into other countries and being booed at first and then it all going okay. So we'll see. He did have an ACL injury actually in 22, but he has been pretty active. Now, he had a good amateur career, actually. He was at the Commonwealth Games. He won a silver medal there. That was the one in Glasgow, and he was a heavyweight then. That was in 2014. Now, he had a super bad opinion of the pros. Didn't want to go pro. Thought, nah, it's just stupid. He didn't think it was as skilled. But he became quite frustrated by the amateurs and the lack of funding. So he actually took 2.5 years out. Now, there's some pretty awesome interviews with him, actually, where he talks about his time during that 2.5 years out. He openly says, he was really depressed. He was sat on the sofa watching YouTube, very unhappy person. Then along comes national super middleweight champion Isaac Peach, who is his trainer, and he inspired him, like, come on, get off that sofa, come into the pros. And since then, he has actually taken back his old comments. He's like, oh, actually, the pros are quite tricky, and I'm quite enjoying being there. So he went pro in 2017, exactly the same as Lawrence Okolie. Now, he had 10 fights in his first year, so he absolutely went for it. And he has been super, super active. So other fights in last year, 22. There was a TKO of Anthony Martinez, who's 15-2. That was a round 1 KO. There was another fight before that, which was a round 2 KO. That was against Vikas Singh, who again is 11-4. So these are decent opponents, not previous world champions like Lawrence Okolie. However, they are good. He's earned his place. He's earned this mandatory fight, I would say. Now, interestingly, he was actually offered this fight against Lawrence Okolie a couple of years ago with 1 week's notice. Bit of a joke, that. I can't believe people do that. And he said, no, how dare you? I will do this fight when I'm properly prepared. So here he is, a couple of years later. He's at a proper camp in New Zealand. He is here. He is ready. He's prepped really, really well. He's going to have to have prepped well, to be honest, because I would heavily favour Lawrence Okolie as a favourite here. I think he's going to have to start slowly. He's going to have to maintain his accuracy. He has he goes in and out on quite a straight line. He's going to have to change it up. But if he's studying Lawrence Okolie, we could see something really fun here. There is a big, fat height and reach difference. Lawrence Okolie has got a lot of inches on him, so we'll see how that goes. Also a little fact for you. You know how I love a little fact. David Light, his dad, is a famous inventor that made a yogurt maker. Anyway, I like to throw those facts in for you. Anyway, let's now move over to the second fight that I would like to preview for you today. And that will be a Queensberry fight that is over on BT Sports. So watch this one first because it's on the undercard. And this is Raven Chapman looking to go 6-0 against Linda Laura Lecker. Now, she was supposed to have a different opponent for this. So if you've seen posters with somebody else, she's actually dropped out because of illness. Or was she scared? I don't know. But well, no, I'm sorry. It was illness. So, Raven Chapman, 5-0. 2 of her wins have come by way of knockout. She is a featherweight at 29 years old. And let me tell you something. She has power as a featherweight. Serious power as a featherweight. Watch her fights on YouTube. I think she is one of the most technically skilled and powerful prospects in well, not just featherweights, like as women boxers right now. I think she's brilliant. Please check her out. Please tune into this fight. I just know she's going to be great. Now, she is the current WBC International Featherweight Champion. Won that in 5 fights, not bad. She won that in October last year against Georgina Guiani. That was a unanimous decision in Manchester. Then she had a fight literally like 1 month after in November against Fatima Yazidou, who is no journeywoman. She had 19 wins previous to that. That was in Dubai. That's the fight that I think you should watch. So if you want to check out Raven Chapman and before tomorrow, be like, okay, what's she like? Look up that. Raven Chapman against Fatima Yazidou. She really shows her skills. Talk about Raven Chapman's opponent here. So no journeyman here at all whatsoever. Linda Laura Lecker. She is a 15-5 with 3 KOs, 2 draws. She is from Peru. She is 34 years old, so she's 5 years older than Raven Chapman. Now, she is a good fighter. Now, her last fight, yes, it was a loss. It was a unanimous decision to Daniela Azero. That was on the 3rd of December last year. However, it was a world title fight. It was for the IBO Super Flyweight World title in Chile. So a really tough fight. And 2 wins before that. So the 2 other wins, well, 2 other fights that she had in 22, both wins, a unanimous decision against Rosabel Escobar, and a technical decision against Erica Cedeno. They were both in Peru. And now, Linda has challenged 5 times for the World Super Flyweight title, and she won it. She won the WBA World Superfly. That was in August 2019 against Corina Fernandez. That was in Spain, and she won it via unanimous decision. She held that title for 2 years, from 2016 to 2018. So, like I keep saying, this is a proper opponent for Raven. This is a really decent opponent. However, you heard that was super fly. This fight is at featherweight. So she's coming up a lot of weight divisions for this. 11 pounds, she's coming up nearly a stone. However, people like Terry Harper and Natasha Jonas have proved that for a woman going up in weights, it is not necessarily a difficult thing. In fact, it could find you success, some serious success. I don't know if that's worrying for Raven Chapman at all. We'll have to wait and see. However, I do think this is going to be a really decent fight because of that, because here we've got someone who's really experienced. She's been in the ring for many years. She's been in some tough fights. She's challenged for those world titles. So going up in weight, going for this international featherweight title, I think the Raven Chapman is going to have to fight her way through this. I do think she'll win, obviously, because I think Raven's brilliant. However, this isn't going to be easy. I think this has the makings of a really decent fight to watch. Now, Linda began when she was 16, so very similar to Raven. She said that boxing was a family tradition. I think it was her dad and her grandfather. They were both boxers in Peru. And for her 12th birthday, her present was some gloves and a bag. So she's been fighting for a very long time. She went pro in 2010, so she's got 11 years worth of experience on Raven Chapman. She was also on a boxing reality TV show in Mexico. She had 3 wins on that show, but they weren't officially legally sanctioned, so they are not on her stats. So she'd actually be 18-5 if they were on there. She had to think about giving up in 2012, but she kept going because she had the dream. She wanted to be that world champion. Obviously managed it. Can she now do it in a second weight category? She had 1 fight per year from 2015 to 2017, but I'd argue that's probably because of lack of opponents. So in 2022, she had 3 fights, exactly the same as Raven, so much more active, getting back into it. These are all the reasons why you should watch this fight tomorrow night. It's going to be good. We've got some come forward fighters with a lot of power and technicality, so What more could you want? Now, this fight is going to be on the Nathan Heaney versus Jack Flatley fight. They are headlining the Queensberry card, which is on BT Sport. So this is going to start a lot earlier, like 7:45ish. So tune in from around then. And then switch over to Sky to go and watch Lawrence Okolie versus David Light on there. So it's a big night of boxing. You can pick and choose. You know, have two screens going if you want. Have a lot of fun. They're both happening over on UK time, just to let you know. Now, tune in next week as well, because there'll be a preview show. AJ is back. Yes, Anthony Joshua will be fighting again against Jermaine Franklin. So I'm pretty excited. I'm really glad he's back. So please tune in for another episode of Talkin Fight with Holly Donovan, same time next week, 2 p.m. UK time, for your previews of fight nights ahead. I'll see you soon. Have a great weekend and enjoy the boxing.